All right, hello again. I apologize for the crazy setup. I actually have it videoing my TV because it wasn't working the greatest from my computer. So hopefully all will be well. Lots of fun technology problems in the beginning. So this video is just going to run you through using MyMathTest. So the very first thing you want to do is go to www.mymathtest.com. And again, that's highlighted for you in the registration instructions in Blackboard under the Handouts tab. So once we're in here, you're going to want to register, and you'll register as a student. Okay, so you will need an email address. I would highly recommend using your student email address, but honestly, anything that's valid would be fine. And then you'll need a program ID, which I have for us. So once we have that, we'll go ahead and register. And then the last thing you will need is your access code, which you need to purchase in the bookstore. It's about $25. So if you do not have that, you will not be able to complete this registration process. If you're not able to do this by Monday, please send me an email and I can look into getting you temporary access. Okay, so here's where we're ready to enter our course ID. Again, that is listed under the registration instructions in Blackboard. I also mentioned it in the previous video. So that is the 16-digit code. So I already had this typed in. And again, you'll notice that's XL3N, the letter O, 17, and then the letter O again, 901Y, and then 4EV2. So make sure you've got O's in the second group of 4 digits and a 0 in the third group of 4 digits. Otherwise, it will not work. We've had that issue before. Okay, and then we can continue on. So at this point, you will want to create an account. I'm assuming everyone will need to do this step. If you do have a previous Pearson account, especially if you've used MyMathTest or MyMathLab before, you can go ahead and log in with that username. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and create our account here. I'm not going to take the time to walk through all this, but you'll want to use the username and password. Make sure you write that down. I should be able to look up your username, but I cannot access your password. So you would have to reset that using your email, or worst case scenario, contact Pearson yourself to walk through that step. And then once you fill in all of that information, you will create your account. The next step will be then to type in your access code, and that's in the little envelope you received from the bookstore. And then finally, you will have to type in that program ID once more to officially enroll in the course. And that was the 16-digit number that we just typed in. Okay, so since I'm not going to take the time to go through all of this, okay, there's my cursor. We'll go back to MyMathLab for MyMathTest, not MyMathLab. That will not take you where you need to go. And then this time I'm just going to sign in. So this will look slightly different because I have instructor access than what you would have. So I've got everything saved already. And then we'll go ahead and enter MyMathTest. Okay, so you will have these top 4. So there's the announcements option. I don't really have any announcements. I will send them out through Blackboard as opposed to MyMathTest. And then the very first thing you'll want to do once you actually log into MyMathTest is take your test. So you'll notice the post-test is listed there. You are not able to access that. It requires a password. So you will have to let me know when you're ready to take the post-test, and I will have to make sure that you at least attempted the pre-test and scored in the 80s a couple times before I'll let you take that early. So we're going to cancel this one. The pre-test, on the other hand, you have an infinite number of times to take it. You can take as long as you need to take it. You can stop in the middle of the test, X out of it, and then start again, and it'll let you pick up where you left off. So we'll go ahead and take the pre-test. And it's 45 questions. The post-test is 35 questions. And they will be similar in nature to the questions in the pre-test. Okay, so I'm just going to make up a few things. I might answer one of them correctly. We'll see. And then here's when you actually have to type in an answer. So you either have the option of it being undefined, or you can go ahead and click in this box and type something in. So you'll notice down here we have the fraction button. This would be a mixed number. This is exponents, absolute value, square roots. These are higher order roots, so you'd have to type in like a cubed root, so 3/4 root, ordered pair. There are a few additional options, but I don't think you will need most of those for this particular course. So let's just type in, I don't know, let's do a fraction. Let's pretend that's what it is. So we would do 7/2. So it's fairly straightforward with the buttons that you're going to be needing for this particular course. And then I'm going to go ahead and submit. Of course, I'm going to do it anyway. As you're taking this test, if there are any problems that you don't really have any idea how to do them, I would just leave it blank, especially if it's multiple choice. That way the study plan will generate some problems pertaining to that particular topic. Otherwise, it won't give you those problems. So please don't try to fudge this. Just do the best you can without looking up anything. You are allowed to use your calculator though. Okay, so let's see how poorly I did. All right, I missed everything, so that's awesome. So you'll notice these red X's are problems that I attempted but missed. If I got the problem correct, I would get a green check mark. And then these down here with the little parentheses, those are problems that I did not even attempt. So at this point, you could go ahead and review. So if I clicked up here and look through the problem, okay, so the red X, that is what I typed in. The green star corresponds to the correct answer. And again, same thing here. We've got the correct answer and my answer. And then you'll notice here, this is the correct answer. If I kind of click on that, it'll tell me what I answered, but the one that's actually listed in the problem, that is the correct answer. Okay, so I can close out of this. And again, if you wanted to go into this at a later date, you could go down to the results tab. And it will show all of your attempts. So I've taken it 3 times to demonstrate this. And each time, of course, I failed miserably, but I could click on review for any of them. And then again, it'll pull up my results. And I can scroll through and look at the problems that I missed. All right, so now we'll go to the study plan. So this is the most important part. This is what you're going to be working in for the remainder of the course. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over here to the All Chapters tab. And anything with a push pin next to it is a chapter that you're going to want to work in. And we only covered a few chapters in this particular test, so not everything was covered. I would skip chapter 1 that's just talking about whole numbers, adding, subtracting, order of operations, or if you just want to do a few problems, that's fine. I would focus down here. We're starting from 9 through 14, and then also chapters 16 and 17 were covered. So let's go ahead and look in chapter 12. You'll notice it breaks it down into sections, and again, you're interested in the sections that have the little push pin next to it. If you see a graduation cap next to it, that means it's a topic that you've already mastered, so you don't necessarily need to do any more problems. So we're actually going to be starting with adding and subtracting polynomials. So Monday's lecture will coincide with chapter 12 in your study plan. So I would strongly encourage you to work on those problems first. You don't have to. If this is something you're already very comfortable with, you can skip it and move on to a different topic. So now it's breaking it down into units with specific topics. So you'll notice we have push pins down here at adding or subtracting polynomials and also solving problems involving perimeter. So I'll just click on one of those problems. You can do as many or as few problems within each section as you feel you need. Again, the goal is just to really understand the material in preparation for ultimately college algebra, but even before that, the post-test. So don't feel like you need to do all of the problems. You're not going to necessarily get any benefit other than just helping you. So if you're a person who needs a lot of repetition, by all means do that. But you also won't be penalized if you only do a couple problems in each section. So for this particular problem, here's the answer blank. Again, you can try to work on it yourself, or we do have these lovely little aids over here. So if you'll notice question help, if you click on that, you have a few options. So the first one is help me solve this. That will literally walk you step by step through solving the problem, and you'll be typing in little answers as you go. So it'll tell me, okay, first we're going to add down our columns. So I'm going to be typing stuff in. So I would do 6x to the 6 plus 2x to the 6. So that is going to be 8. They already have the x to the 6th for me, so I'll just type in 8. And then over here we have negative 3 plus 8, which is 5. So I'll click in that blank and press the 5. And then I'll check my answer and it'll allow me to continue on. So I got it correct, so I'm going to continue. They're just giving you a few more hints, like the x to the 6th cannot be combined with x to the 2nd because they are not like terms. So we are done at this point, and then you would close. Now what it's going to do is generate a new problem for you to try on your own. Similarly, if we went up to question help, there's also view an example. This time it walks you through a similar problem, but it doesn't actually have you type in the values yourself. So what's nice about this one is it just kind of allows you to use their format and apply it to your particular problem. But once you close out of it, it won't generate a new problem. So that's kind of nice. And then there is a calculator. So if you don't have one handy, you can go ahead and use this calculator. You can use your phone as you're working. I definitely encourage you not to use it for the original pre-test or the post-test. In person, we don't allow it for the post-test, but it is what it is. So there is a calculator on here. And then lastly, there is the option for Ask My Instructor. So if you had a question, it's going to link it to this particular problem, and then it will email it directly to me. So if you're like, I'm stuck at a certain point, I'm just going to make something up, and then you can go ahead and send it. And you'll notice it's sent to my particular email. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this. Okay, and then again we could go back into another section and keep working. There are a few additional helps that I didn't talk about. This one that has that little movie reel next to it, that means there's a little video that you can watch about solving the problem. And of course, by all means, if you ever have questions, please feel free to email me, text me. I'd be happy to, if it's just like a quick check, send a response back to you. Sometimes I'll write it out on paper, take a picture of it, and then email it or text it that way. Again, I'm also willing to hop on Zoom at any point. We can do a private screen sharing. So if you're having trouble getting logged in, I can kind of troubleshoot it looking at your particular computer screen. That might be easier than just trying to estimate or guess what kind of computer you're using, what the screen looks like. So I think that is about it. So I will go ahead and X out of this. And again, we'll go ahead and pick up on Monday with polynomials. So that is your handout that you can look at. We'll have the live Zoom session at 1, or I will have an option for you to watch it after the fact. All right, I will talk to you all later.